Greetings, friends, and happy solstice. Today, after all of those many months of the sun rising and rising higher and higher in the sky here in the northern hemisphere, it's reached its zenith point. So, celebrations of the sun. And of course, in the southern hemisphere, this seed of the reminder of what is to come and that low point of inwardness. So the balance of everything is at play. And here we're in the northern hemisphere celebrating the summer solstice, the zenith of the solar cycle. And I just was looking at the Gene Key of the Day calendar today and seeing how the artwork really portrays that quite well. This piece by Eric Nez. Look at this woman in her, it's quite a zenith position. It says, "Oh, brilliant sun." What does it say here? Please bless us with your infinitely creative energy. And I'm bringing this theme of humanity at its zenith as this summer solstice transmission because the gene key associated with the solstice here in June is the 15th gene key of fluorescence. And it really does reflect that humanity at its zenith. And I like to look at it as each of our individual lives reaching their zenith. Isn't that what we're doing here? Isn't that why maybe we're into the gene keys and looking to see what are the highest potentials of my particular design? So this is a great inquiry to look into. We've all been on the path of coming into more full expressions and embodiments of who we truly are. And today is a reminder of the possibilities of that. So let's focus on the 15th gene key and what its messages are and how we can learn from this particular archetypal stream of consciousness. So the 15 moves from the shadow of dullness to the gift of magnetism and the city of fluorescence. And so when I think about humans, myself, let's just say personal, one individual life, myself reaching my zenith, I come into contact with, of course, what are the things that are in the way of me just naturally, easily being myself. And I think we can really find a lot of clues in the gene key in the shadow of dullness. Because here we have a dilemma of comfort where we get really comfortable and blinded inside of our programming. So since our childhood and throughout all of our developmental years and maturing throughout our cycles of life, we have created these very neurological, chemical pathways between our brain and our bodies and the emotional responses that keep us in these default programs where literally the cells in our body are designed over time to have more receptor sites for particular emotions like sadness or anger or guilt, any of the programs that we really that limit us, that have been those kind of false belief systems and just the illusions of the Maya and what we learn inside of our conditioning. They're all hardwired in there. And so this is, objectively looking at this, that's what we're facing, is the hardwiring of our old programs. And dullness is showing us how we get really complacent inside of those programs. We become blinded because actually to break out of dullness, it requires the courage to change. It requires breaking out of repetitious cycles and being willing to do something new. You're literally telling your cells, I know that you're designed to do this certain thing because you've been doing it for so long, but I'm asking you to do something different. The cells have to be, in accordance with that kind of change as well. which is where I think our relationship to our shadow comes again into the great focus of our awareness. Our relationship to the default programs. I might be triggered into another cycle of guilt, but am I able to allow, accept, and embrace that and give a coherent signal to that program to then kind of bring it into resonance with maybe my more conscious mind and intentions? Or am I just reacting against that guilty pattern and I'm angry that I did that thing again and nothing's really happening? So, magnetism as a gift is this beautiful capacity to be tuned in to the natural vibrations that are occurring in this moment. And I love how Richard talks about in this city, stay close to the earth. The Schumann resonance, this one talks about the vibrational kind of aura of the earth, that when we relax and pause into the frequencies of earth and just of the natural vibrations that are occurring, like sunlight through the plants and the feeling of the wind against our skin, relaxing our bellies, these kinds of things, they bring us into the present moment where all of these programs, they become, well, we're able to see them with much more objectivity. We have much more spaciousness around working with them. And then all infinite possibilities of everything else that we're living into when it comes to living into our zenith and being the creative beings that we are now accessible to us with total ease and naturalness. So magnetism, this mysterious swirling of consciousness when we just drop into the present moment and allow our beings to emanate, this is so key. So I've been doing this work of becoming more objective of my programs and seeing them for what they are and having less and less charge around them. And it's really beautiful to see how much more space there is for me to live up to my potential. I want to bring in a specific, there's a lot going on with the stars. There's some trines. There's a Saturn. Saturn is trine to, I'm trying to think, now that Venus is trine Pluto. Saturn is trine the North Node and Uranus. So there's like a grand trine here going on. But the one I want to speak to is, well, first of all, okay, so it's a solstice, but here comes the new moon. The new moon will be on Friday, and it will also be in the 15th gene key. So there's another like dose of this 15 as the next cycle that we're in, and it's conjunct with Mercury. And so maybe we have more intellectual capacities or words and communication to really talk about our programs, talk about our experience, be really objective with our thoughts. Maybe there's breakthroughs within our relationships of being able to communicate with each other about what's going on. I want to also point out that this solstice and new moon is in a square to Chiron. And Chiron just moved into the 25th gene key. So Chiron is the wounded healer, and it's kind of always asking us to get more deeply in touch with the wound. And so the 25 is really the allow, accept, embrace key, as I've come to really know it. And after listening to Richard's audio, is profound if you haven't heard that one. And it moves from constriction to acceptance and unconditional love or universal love. So Chiron asking us to get deeply in touch with and deeply allow and accept and embrace the wound within is kind of squaring off to this 15, challenging us. Are you willing to sit in the face of the programs and the monotony of how life has become dull for you? You know, get honest. I think Chiron obviously oftentimes makes us get honest with the things that are operating that bring us in touch with the pain. So allow the things to come to the surface and be with them. That's really what it is. Just be with them, and that creates coherence. And it breaks the chaotic, reactive patterns at the shadow level, and it casts a signal of coherence that then can raise the frequency of the shadow into its higher capacities. So really see yourself. Really notice those thoughts that you're having about the situation that's playing out. How much can you be present with what is, with an open mind and an open heart? That's the solstice blessing. I'm so glad to be here with you today. Pick up your Gene Key of the Day calendars. We're only halfway through, so you still have half of a year of beautiful art and wonderful cycles to track. So we love you so much. Blessings and goodbye.